I'm Melody Hopper, and I had some thoughts I wanted to share with you guys today. This month is April, and it is also the Sexual Abuse Awareness Month. And I think a lot of you know that I am a survivor of sexual abuse. I was abused by my stepdad when I was a child. I was I was eventually raped by my stepdad, and a few years after that, I was raped by a man who went to our church. So I felt like I kind of wanted to share some of that today, to talk about what it's like for me personally to have those things in my past. I think that, sexual abuse and rape is always going to be a part of my story. It eventually made me a very strong person, after I was able to heal. Still healing. Healing is a lifelong battle and a journey, and I know that. So I'm very passionate about giving other women hope who have been through this kind of thing, who have been raped, who have been sexually, touched in ways that they didn't want. I know how dark and hopeless it can feel when you are touched in ways that you do not want to be touched, when you are raped, when you realize there's absolutely nothing that you can do there's nothing you can do to keep somebody from showing up at your door, or stalking you. Because I was raped by two different people. The second one being a single man who was in his 30s, and he went to my church. Everybody thought he was cool, like the cool Christian guy, and I don't know, he tried to be very charming. He tried to come into our church. He was very much like the wolves in sheep's clothing. He hadn't always been at our church, but he kind of came in and acted very cool. He acted like he loved the Lord. He'd pray. He would act all holy, and he would set up events with the teens and the singles, sometimes on the weekends, where we would all meet up at Dave's and Buster's or somewhere else, somewhere where everyone would have fun. So he was seen as the fun person who was trustworthy, and he's a really fun Christian, and everybody likes him. I think he tried to create that at our church. However, not everybody was fooled by that, and I never trusted him. I never was impressed by the charm that he tried to bring into, our church. I was never at all. So one day at an event where everyone was supposed to show up, it was just me who showed up that time, and it was just him and I, and he really took advantage of that. He came on very strong to me. He told me I was gorgeous. He told me how beautiful I was. He thought there was something between us, and I made it very clear to him that I was not interested, that my heart wasn't in that place. I wasn't ready to date anybody. I didn't know how to date somebody after being sexually abused by my stepdad. I just had a lot of walls up, and I wasn't really interested in dating a lot of people. At the end of the night, it didn't matter how many times I told no, or how the more stern that I became. And then eventually he started giving me a lot of alcohol. And after a couple of different shots, different things, I was out. I don't remember anything. I was throwing up everywhere. It was awful. And he pretended to care by, what he explained later was that he was too worried to drop me off by myself at my house, and as if I didn't have any other friends, or that he couldn't have called somebody else in our church. So his way of caring about me after he gets me drunk is to bring me to his hotel room, and he has to carry me because I can't walk. He carries me into the elevator, and he carries me into his room, and I'm just out. Like, I'm a wreck. I feel horrible. I'm throwing up, I remember the throwing up, but there was nothing in that situation where I gave him any kind. He broke through all of my barriers, decided that he wanted me that night, and he was going to have me no matter how much how he had to do it. The next morning, when I became aware and I was sick to my stomach because of all the alcohol, and I realized where I was, I had to ask him, I'm like, what hotel am I at? Like, what hotel did you bring me to? Because I didn't know. I didn't know what hotel because he had to carry me. And he told me, yeah, I had to carry you. I don't remember any of that. It was just so, it was so over the top. And I just wanted him to get me home. I was like, I was sick to my stomach. I was afraid that I was pregnant. Um, it was horrible. And I just wanted to get, I just wanted him to take me home. I'm like, just take me home. And he was still acting like he cared about me or something. He still acted like because like he had done something to me that night that somehow that would make me want him. And I'm just like, dude, you have no idea. You have no idea what you've done to me and what you've taken from me because of the way you stole this from me. I hated him after that. Like that morning when I woke up, I hated him. He was trying to make it seem like that this was something I'm like, no, like get me home. I don't want this. I don't want you. Get me freaking home. So when he finally drove me home, I remember just taking a shower. And I remember just like, I felt like I couldn't wash off. I kept showering and showering and showering. And just like the feeling, I was trying to get clean, but I couldn't feel clean. I feel like that I just stayed in that shower for a long, long time and just scrubbed. I was just trying to process what just happened to me. And I was wondering if I had gotten pregnant. And I was like, what if this jerk got me pregnant? What if he did? And so like I had all these horrible nightmares. Like that, like the days after that became a nightmare to me. It's like I wanted to just somehow move on beyond it. Like let's just get on with my life. Like he can leave me alone. He can leave. He can not bother me ever again, and then I can just get on with my life. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. After Chad had dropped me off, I couldn't eat because I was sick. I kept wanting to throw up because of the alcohol. Like I was just a mess. I felt horrible, and I felt like I had no strength to take care of myself. I was just a wreck. And just to clarify, it doesn't make a girl hot for you. When you push her sexually, she's not gonna want you. She's just not. A note to men who might think that for some reason, but no, like if you push and push a woman to have sex when she said no and when she didn't want it, I didn't want that sex. I didn't want the sex that he pushed on me. I hated it. And I wasn't sleeping around. I didn't have that lifestyle.